Welcome to Boxing on the Record with Randy and Shy Time. Shy Time, before we get started, this time I have to take a station break. This is the time where you get an opportunity to like, dislike, share, subscribe, comment, do something to engage with the channel so that we can reach other people and grow as a community. Now back to our regular scheduled program. Shy Time, what you got on your mind? What you want to get off your mind and put it on the record?
Man, Randy, as you know, I mean, with my profession and everything, things have just been out of control for me. I've kind of fallen off. I've just been extremely busy, beyond busy. Stuff that no man should ever have to deal with as it relates to my career. And so that just really has me behind on everything. And unfortunately, I have fallen behind on the sport that I love so much, which is boxing. But as I was sitting here taking a quick tea break and watching Fantasy Island, there was a commercial that came up about Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua, that fight. And I was like, oh, that is right. They are supposed to be fighting in a couple of weeks and everything. And then it took me to an alert I got on Monday about a move that Jake Paul's promotional company has made. Recall Jake Paul's promotional company is MVP, Most Valuable Promotions. And also, as we're trying to recall a lot of things, I also want to bring back to remembrance that before the whole Tank Davis circus fiasco, uh, the original person that Jake Paul, like a year and change ago, that he actually called out that he actually wanted to try to fight was actually AJ. And so there was something that occurred where that did not materialize. I can't speak out of turn, so I don't recall all the specifics. I don't know if it was AJ's like, nah, I'm not going to do this gimmick fight or what it was. And as that happened, Tank became a villain, if you will, and then that fell apart. And now it seems like it's coming back to the original thing. So that fight is scheduled to happen, and I think it's on December 19th, if I'm mistaken. But the big thing is that the alert that came out, I think it was on Monday, is that Jake Paul has signed to his MVP, Most Valuable Promotions banner, Caroline Dubois. Daniel Dubois' sister, who you've heard me say several times, for me is the better boxer in the family. And this is, bro, I can't even describe how huge of a move this is and why is this such a huge move. Jake Paul, people sitting out here dissing him, dogging him, crying about this, crying about that. He has made some major moves in female boxing and literally has brought it back, put it back on the map. Not specifically because it's just literally him, but because he invested so much into that, where he literally had the dopest female card in the history. Had that sellout with Serrano and Katie Taylor, um, uh, fitness boxing Katie Taylor at Madison Square Garden, where women sold out a main event that's never happened before. That was all behind Jake Paul. Jake Paul is the one that put that together. Manny Serrano signed under Jake Paul, but Jake Paul literally saw that void there. And he's like, let me invest in women's boxing. And now, almost on all of his cards, I'm saying almost because I just can't think of every single last card, but almost all of his cards, he makes sure he has a female boxer on there. That is amazing. That is beautiful. I'm and so him to move forward with Caroline Dubois, I'm expecting some great things. Jake Paul, I'm really excited. I'm happy what he's done in the sport of boxing, but more specifically what he's doing with the female side of everything. Randy, what do you think about that news? Talk to me. Give it to me.
Well, I'm always excited about boxing. I love boxing too. That's one of my favorite getaways, one of my favorite pastimes. I'm probably not as advanced in it as a lot of other people. That don't stop me from loving it just as much because I don't have time like you don't have time all the time. So you might have some people out there way more knowledgeable about boxing than me, but don't mean that they love it more than I do. because you know for yourself, the only thing I watch is boxing. I don't watch football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, swimming, track and field, you name it. I watch boxing. But back to Jake Paul. You know, I've always said about Jake Paul that well, when he first started, I didn't see the play, but now I see what's going on. Jake Paul is doing something in boxing that ain't really nobody is looking into. Like you say, filling the void. Women boxing had came on strong at one time, then it disappeared. If it wasn't for Jake Paul, I don't think it would still be thriving like it is. And a lot of people don't give him credit for that. They're doing too much hating on him and worrying about what he's doing and what he's not doing for them and putting on these phony fights. But we're looking at the big picture of things. He's championing women boxing like no other. There's nobody else doing nothing for women boxing like Jake Paul. Like I said, not only is he doing that, he's filling a void because he coming in as a freelance promoter. He didn't even have a promotional background, but he's coming in as a freelance promoter. Anybody else could have did the same thing that he did, but he seen where it was a door open and he went through it. Think about how many boxers could have been in the same situation Jake Paul in. Think about if a lot of boxers had took their money and invested it back into themselves or into their promotional and actually got serious about it, like the Haneys. The Haney's are very serious about promoting. You know, you have a lot of people out there that have promotional companies and they're just only promotional companies by name. But Jake Paul is taking it to another step. And right now is a good time to be in the promotion business because Turkey is going to war with all the big boys, so you don't have to go to war with them. And when the dust settles, it's going to be room for a lot of more promotional companies to come in, unless it lay dominant in the ones that was already there ease back in. Look at Jake Paul. Jake Paul right now is doing more in boxing than Al Heyman. He's doing more in boxing than Bob Aaron. He's doing more in boxing promotional wise than Oscar De La Hoya. The only one he's not really doing more than right now, I think, will be Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn ain't nothing but a leech. Eddie Hearn is on the coattail of Turkey trying to get in where he fit in. Eddie Hearn is a lapdog. He do anything people tell him to do if it'll get him where he need to be at. So he probably doing better than all those other guys except for Eddie. Um, but like I said, I like Jake Paul now. And I think he's doing a great thing. And I'm interested to see how the sport of boxing look promotional wise in the next 10 years. What say you?
Man, Randy, you said a mouthful right there, and I agree with everything you said. And I also want to throw in just exactly like you said with Eddie Hearn. Everyone has to remember too. Eddie Hearn also leashed off Jake Paul. They still have an agreement, going on with different things. But yes, in the early days, Matchroom and Jake Paul, they were still trying to do some stuff together as well. So this gives you an idea of how a YouTuber who made all his money off YouTube came into boxing and exposed all of this stuff in boxing. And basically, at least on the female side, is taking over, man. I mean, he's really doing what needs to be done. As much as we want to cry and scream about it, why not celebrate it? We have boxing on Netflix because of Jake Paul. Nobody wants to admit that. That is an amazing thing. We're getting some of these top fights, especially in the female side, because of Jake Paul. No one wants to admit that. Jake Paul, coming from the YouTube background, he does play a character. You know, just like when Floyd went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather, he played a character, played a role. And you have to be a shallow person to fall for these types of characters and not realize that, okay, this is just this character for this to bring public. The play is I'm bringing my audience that doesn't know boxing, my audience that only knows from YouTube, knows me from doing these stunts. I'm bringing them to the sport. Now you got more eyes looking at the sport. You got more eyes looking at the women. You got more eyes invested in the women. And what are we seeing? We're seeing women actually fighting. I won't say it's because of him, but we are seeing women fighting a lot better with more technical skills, and that's keeping people engaged almost to the point where they rather see a woman's fight as opposed to a male fight because these men are always crying about how much money am I going to get to fight him? I ain't going. They're not fighting anyone. The women have no issue going out here and doing this, and they're so now. This is what Jake Paul is bringing to the stuff while everybody's hating on him. And just as an aside, um, him calling out Anthony Joshua. in the beginning, and then kind of going through with it if they do fight in a couple of weeks. This is a serious step. I mean, this ain't no joke. As much as we want to talk about Anthony Joshua as a person that will put me in the grave if I got one punch by this dude, pound him both his hand. Jake is really taking all kinds of risks, and the biggest risk is becoming brain damaged, you know, in this particular fight. And as far as I know, we'll talk more as we get closer because we'll be able to learn the rules more. But as far as I know, this is still just a regular fight. I mean, no headgear. There's no, 16 wear rounds gloves. Not a glorified sparring session. It's gonna be a quote unquote legit fight where knockdowns count like it was supposed to be in the circus fight with Tank and all these things. And so this is a fight that I'm looking forward to us talking about in about a week or so to break it down. But I think you already mostly everybody has an idea which way I'm rolling, and it's definitely always going to be with the boxer. But anyways, that's about all I got on it. God bless Jake Paul and what he's doing. Caroline Dubois, I'm wishing nothing but a huge future for her, much success for her and her family. And I'm really, really happy with women's boxing. And I want it to keep developing and building more. I want more people to get involved and to watch it more. That's why I got on it, Randy.
Well, I'm looking for Jake Paul to become the ring leader of the top women boxers in the future, and all the top women boxers will be controlled by him or under his umbrella, and even come to him uh, to get in the game or to further themselves in the game because he's establishing himself now. But I want to leave this with him. If a YouTuber can come in and do what Jake Paul has done for boxing, not just female boxing, but for boxing, imagine what fighters that's in the game instead of being robots, just going out fighting and learning the promotional game can do better because they got inside knowledge of what's going on in boxing and don't have to learn it like Jake Paul did. Imagine what they can do for us taking their career in their hand if they got serious about it and actually did some work and stop spending money on garbage. With that being said, we're out of here like last year.
Peace.